So today we're looking at the HCH2 battery control module, and it's long been a wish of people to be able to monitor the stick voltages individually in the HCH2 because it is particularly bad at killing off the packs. So it looks like we can now do that with the addition of a simple serial data device. I've hacked together one using my OBD2 CNC as the basis again, but basically inside the HCH2 battery control module, as we can see here, we have an opto there, and I'm sensing from the middle leg of that opto isolator. This is on the low voltage side. There is a constant stream of serial data coming in from the 11 voltage taps on the battery, and it squirts a continuous stream of serial data over here, 5-volt logic, which is very easy to pick up, and I'm displaying it on my device there. I'll explain that more in a moment. So at the moment I've got a variable voltage DC power supply just feeding voltage into one of the taps on the battery voltage taps input, and you can see I've actually got this at 13.9 volts, and if you look at the first value on the top left here, we can see it's fluctuating around 13.9 volts. So it has actually got a resolution of 2 decimal points, and it appears to be a 12-bit ADC. And the range it allows is 0.5 volts to 20.15 volts on each voltage tap, and the accuracy looks to be about plus or minus 10 millivolts. So that's pretty good. So you can, if you're with a simple serial capture device like the OBD2 CNC here, which is just looking at the data stream and working out what the voltages are from the data stream, putting them on the display there, you can see we've got 11 voltage taps there, and we've got a total voltage, and we've got some checksum checking going on at the bottom there to make sure the calculated checksum is the same as the checksum that's actually been received in the data, so we can discard bad data if we wanted to. So if I turn the voltage of my power supply up a bit, let's just turn it to, I don't know, 17.9 or something, and you can see it says 17.88, and that's could easily be a difference between the accuracy of my power supply voltage display there and or the HCH2 BCM, and you can see the voltage there, 17.88. so it's pretty accurate. So by the addition of a simple 3-wire gadget, power from the BCM and positive and negative, and the serial connection here on the opto isolator, you could have a serial display on the dashboard displaying in real time what the battery is, what the BCM is seeing of the battery to within 10 millivolts in its operating range. Now, some voltage data is available on the CAN bus and at special request via the HDS software to the BCM, but that has only got resolution to 100 millivolts, and you would have to constantly send a data request to the BCM to get it to spit out that value. So and you would need something plugged into the OBD2 port for that. So this can wire straight into the battery control module, 3 wires, as I've said, the serial data and a positive and negative feed, and then you can have live voltage streaming. So part of this project was to decide whether we could work out how the data was being sort of parsed and how it was being sent backwards and forwards, and by intercepting the data at this point, by disconnecting the output of this opto and putting in a fooling device, BCM interceptor, which is what I normally call them, then we can modify the voltage that's coming from the taps and send it on to the intelligent side of the battery control module, voltage tap data that we want rather than what the car is actually seeing. So we could fake a higher voltage here because we can turn the taps down, but the highest voltage battery we could actually put into that would be 11 times 20 roughly, so 220 volts would be the most that the HCH2 could accept directly and still give us full range sensing. But we probably wouldn't want to do that, and I'll show you that in a second. So I'll just turn the power supply off because it's making a bit of noise. So now the next thing I'm going to show you, I've actually got some wires connected into this. This is the voltage tap plug from a battery pack, And basically I've got it going into a little box here, and this is one of my BCM foolers. This is a resistor matrix, and this has 11.1% 10k resistors in a matrix, and each of the wires of the output goes to the voltage taps here, and it's just powered from a high voltage supply, and it has an LED here as well. So what I'll do is I'll turn the supply back on. Let's see if we can get the device to resume. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to disconnect the plug there. Try not to short out your desk power supply. So we see now we've got 0.5 volts, which is 0.56 volts, which is the minimum it detects, and that's basically, there's no voltage coming into here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to power up my resistor matrix, and I've got a capacitor and some power supplies in here to give me 200 volts or so. So I'm going to plug this in, and what can we see? And we can see that now it's receiving more voltage. It's going up and down, so it's not very stable, the power supplies that I'm using, but you can see it's slowly coming up. And so there's a high voltage supply in this box here going to the resistor matrix, and the resistor matrix, made of these 11.1% resistors, is basically providing a perfectly balanced set of voltages for the battery control module. And by using a pre-resistor in front of the resistor matrix, you could have a much higher voltage than you would normally be able to. So you could easily have 250 volts coming into a pre-resistor and then into this box here, and then splits it down, and it gives you 11 perfectly balanced voltage taps here for your BCM. So that's another part of the voltage hacking that we're going to be trying to do with the HCH2. So it's been useful, discovered how to intercept the serial data, how to get the serial data so we've got a nice display of the battery voltage taps if we want that for standard cars, or how we can manipulate the serial data to give us a lower voltage than the car's actually getting, and how to manipulate this voltage to give us more potential power in our ultimate CRZ with HCH2 electronic gear in it for an ultimate power test. So that's where I am at the moment, and that is today's research.